There are 250 of these individual bondholders who are now ready to fight, rolling up their sleeves, asking government to spare their bonds. When the pension fund started agitating on this very show, we hosted them and they talked. You saw who the pension funds represent. They represented the workers of this country. And so we heard from the Workers' Union, the Ghana Medical Association, the NAGRAT, the teachers, etc. They came on this show and they spoke. The question is, who are individual bondholders? That's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be bringing individual bondholders in to hear from them. There's a myth around individual bondholders. We want to bust those myths tonight as we get into the hard issues about how this will affect real lives. You talk about pension. These are individuals also who are going to be affected by this. So this is the issue I was talking about. There was this U-turn on the 5th of December, saying on the 5th of December, there was an emphatic statement made by the finance ministry that individual bondholders will not be affected. That's how it started. And then on the 3rd, and this is just, 2 weeks after this announcement, just less than 3 weeks after the initial declaration that individual bondholders will not be affected. On the 23rd, literally on the eve of Christmas, another statement was issued by the finance ministry now saying individual bondholders will now be affected. Why? Because they had to exempt the pension funds from it. So that's where we are tonight. If you didn't know before, who is an individual bondholder? This is a natural person. Somebody like me who buys the bond by himself is an individual bondholder. And you can define this as opposed to institutional bondholders, such as a pension fund that had taken your pensions money and had decided to now buy bonds. That's a way of investing so they can get money to pay you when your pensions are due. Those are institutional bondholders. But when you do it yourself, when you save your money and you go to your bank and you say, buy me bonds, that is an individual bondholder because it's your name on the title, the bond document. That's how you distinguish it. You are a natural person. Now, according to the 2021 debt report, we're trying to get down to some of the details of what constitutes the individual bond holdings. The holdings by a non-bank sector increased from 33.8% to 30.2%. Now, this mainly was attributed to the increased participation of individual investors. So a lot of people who are now individuals who have saved money all their lives, who decided now to buy some bonds and live off that. And so that's what led to the increase. And now this is the breakdown from the finance ministry. The thing though is, this is all the billions you see here is all government securities, including bonds. So we don't have an isolated number. But that tells you a story, right? Because you see individuals holding of these securities. It's a consistent rise from 2018 to 2021 of 16.72 billion. These are individuals who have decided to lend money to government and make some returns of that so they can live. And the monies have been going up, including individual bonds. So that's a picture there. But the interesting point I found in the document, one of the documents that was released very recently, covering the new memorandum, covering the debt exchange program, after they did the amendment to include individual bond holdings, is an interesting one. As I've said already, 250 of these individual bond holders have served notice. They will be taking up a class action if government doesn't back off. But listen to what the finance minister is telling poor folks who have saved all their money and have decided to buy government bonds and lend to the government. Finance minister is warning all individual bondholders that don't even bother to sue, because if you bother to sue, you are very likely to fail. Even if you win, you can't execute that judgment. Don't take my word for it. Read his own words in the document that was released and issued by him covering the debt exchange program. He says, quote, all offers made by eligible holders are irrevocable, right? As you see there, the Republic shall, in the sole discretion, determine whether to accept or reject any offer without any obligation to provide reasons for it. So even if you join, they can decide to reject it. Then it says, the Republic of Ghana is a sovereign state. Consequently, it may be difficult. This is a direct quote from the Finance Ministry document. It may be difficult for eligible holders of eligible bonds to obtain or realize awards against the Republic. In other words, simple terms, the finance minister is telling bondholders, and you hear many of them tonight, whose very lives depend on these monies they've lent to the government. Finance is telling them that if you attempt to sue me, you may fail. As it says there in this statement, it may be difficult for eligible holders of bonds to obtain or realize awards against the Republic. But even if you win, he says here that the Republic has submitted to the jurisdiction of the courts. In other words, and they haven't waived any immunity. You can sue us. But I want you to focus on this part for me, where the finance minister says, in the bit here that I will isolate for you in a second, right here, it says, well, you can, in essence, sue us. We have waived our immunity, right? We have waived our immunity. So you can sue. You can sue. However, the finance minister says, if you decide to go ahead and sue, if you decided to go ahead and sue, which is the next slide, by the way, I want to go back to this. If you decide to sue, the Republic has not, however, waived immunity from execution or attachment in respect of certain of its assets. What this simply means is that, yes, we have waived our immunity so you can sue us. But if you win, it will be difficult for you to execute or attach some of the state's assets, which is very interesting indeed. If you win, for example, you can seize the finance minister's car because it's a state vehicle. So provided you can prove that it's a state vehicle, belongs to the state, and sell off and defray your cost that you put in. That's what happened in cases such as the Argentina case. There was an Argentina military ship that was docked in Ghana when it defaulted. When the bondholders, the investors, won the case in international court, they located an Argentina ship on the shores of Ghana. I got a local law firm to go to court and seize the Argentinian ship. Now, the thing is that if individual bondholders win and you have to get your money back, you can seize government assets. But the finance minister is telling you that even if you win, he says for you, it'll be difficult to win. That's what he says. Even if you win, it's going to be difficult. We haven't waived the immunity from execution and attachment. That's an interesting point. But we'll hear from the bondholders themselves what they make of this interesting point. And then the interesting point, according to the IMF, that is important for me. Domestic debt restructuring may be easier to accomplish. Authorities can simply elect to alter the terms of the debt contract through changing domestic law, but that will be dangerous. Already, the Attorney General has said that this whole idea of trying to go through the compulsory means is wrong. It's against the laws. It will be difficult to enforce. That's why they're doing voluntary. But is it really voluntary when the alternative is that we can't pay you?